Right. Okay. All right, the regular meeting of March 16th of the Water and Sewer Board. Call the meeting to order at 4:30 p.m. Approval of the minutes of the February 16th, 23 regular meeting. Do I have a motion to approve or any amendments?
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
motion by Barry, seconded by Steve. All in favor, say aye. Financial statements. Quick review of those. Looking at the February trial balance report. The cash available in the bank is $814,222. And that compares to a year ago of $1,000,004. But we have in the loan reserve for the sewer plant loan. Been putting back money for that, so got 240,000 in reserve for payments on that particular loan for the influent lift station. On the water report, the excuse me, the revenue is $1,144,000 year to date against the budgeted year to date projection of $1,048,000. So the revenue is running ahead of what we budgeted. The expenses are also running a little bit higher than what we projected. They're $1,066,000 against $955,000 budgeted. Still showing a positive net income of $78,000. Rough, but it's a little lower than what we had projected in budget. Maintenance and repairs is what seems to be running in excess of what we had budgeted. They're running around 300,000 as compared to a budgeted number of 133. So we've been having some failures, and the cost of parts and everything has gone up as well. So the sewer budget is revenue is also running higher than what we projected. We projected 462,000 round numbers for revenue for this year to date. I mean, that's actual 462,000 actual against budgeted 396,000. The expenses actually are a little better than what we budgeted. They're at 570,000 rounded off against a budget of 633. So we're in a much better position in the sewer than what we had budgeted that we'd be at this time of year at a negative net income of 108,000. So we're with the water being off a little less, we're close, but maybe a little lower than what we had projected overall for both the water and the sewer. Anybody got any questions or anything on those statements? Have you had a chance to look at them, or any questions?
The comment, Tim, on the sewer and the operating revenue being up. It's the top of that page there, very top item, it says 428,000 versus our budgeted was 360,000. Why is our revenue sewer up? Sewer revenue up. Is that just prices going up, cost?
Well, it's the revenue being up is, I think, based on the fact that we are getting a little bit more usage, and also the cost of living adjustment was a little bit higher than we may have anticipated in the budget when we put it together.
And two, with a lot of your new meters that's been put in on the water meters. The residential is based on what goes through your water meter as far as registered gallons. So your registered gallons goes up on your water, then your revenue will increase on your sewer.
Right. But I look over on the water revenue and it's almost spot on.
Right.
So that's why I didn't quite see why one would, it isn't just the sewer
And we've been
bill
seeing
is
kind
a
of
function.
a gradual increase. I need to kind of
Yeah.
research.
We've been
I
having.
mean, the sewer's a function of the money we bring in from water, right?
Right.
We don't really
Right.
calculate sewer directly.
Right.
Right. Okay, that's what I was wondering.
You do
The
have,
good big deal is the customers that we have that's hauling sewer to us, like lanes.
Uh-huh. Okay,
I mean, they really.
so we do
pick
get
up.
some commercial business,
Right.
you're saying? Okay,
and you get some pre-treatment
And pre-treatment.
through the trucking company,
Right.
Waste Path, and
and it's billed on the sewer side.
Do we
Yes.
bill that on, like with regular bills though? Because a lot of that falls into that other operating revenue.
If we
Okay,
raise the
other-
water rate, like say it's $10 a month, and it's 2.5 times that on your sewer side.
Okay,
So that multiplier on your sewer side is you can have kind of a minimum, not too bad on the water, but it hits the sewer too. But what we have like a 3 to 4% on that. cost of living.
0.77, I think.
3.8 almost rounded off, but
So it's.
Yeah.
2.5 times on the sewer. It adds
Yeah.
up.
That's a good question.
One other question, we, in our year to date balance last year, we, if I'm understanding this, we did not put that money back last year, right? So if
Yes.
we add the 240.
Well, I started putting, I can't remember exactly when I started.
Okay, so we can't add the 240 to the 814, because that's about
I-
same as,
Yes, and I'd have to look back and
Okay.
see.
all right,
But you know, we've cash flowed the Gilbertsville.
Yes.
The bridge,
Bridge.
Gilbertsville Bridge project,
And we
which
get
we'll be
that
getting
back.
that money back.
okay, yeah. yeah.
And we've just had a lot of,
Right.
and look at that repair and maintenance.
Yes.
We just,
significant.
it's hitting our
yeah, we've
cash.
had some big pumps to go out.
Yeah,
Because we had to replace both pumps at the Gordon lift station. One, yeah, okay, so.
I know the price of stuff, we dealt with it at that church, you know. $800 over now, 2,000.
I had a small company go out over the weekend, but I mean, I hadn't got. The price back on it yet.
Premature failures, or you think they're, would you consider them be like a premature failure, or are they?
The one that failed this weekend was, yes, way premature.
Hmm.
And, now the other one, the big pump that I had to replace at Herman Gordon, no, that pump has been in there for 15 years.
Okay.
It was past due.
Is your premature one, is it near commercial issues? Is it near commercial?
No.
Okay.
And I've got them, I mean, most of it should be under warranty on this.
Oh, good.
It failed this weekend.
You can get their money back
I
on
know all the parts were, but yeah, I don't know about the labor, but that's the parts.
Okay, just a quick note, Greg told me earlier that he wouldn't be able to be here with us tonight because he got a phone call 30 minutes ago that one of his clients was having a baby, so he was headed to the hospital to take care of the adoptions on that issue. He did point out to us, I had asked him to, I'd asked Carrie and to contact him because one of our customers has filed a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. And as a part of that, they're supposed to be paying for everything. After they file, they're supposed to continue to pay their utilities. And they're up several $1,000s and not paying. And so we're wanting to find out what we can do about cutting them off. So he wants you and Carrie to get him the bills
Okay.
that are after the bankruptcy. And then he can go through a bankruptcy attorney. And anything that would there, we should get paid within about 10 days.
Okay.
Everything gets posted, so
Yeah, he and I talked
help me to
about it.
remember to tell Carrie or you tell her or
I will.
something, so we can. What to do, but he just needs copies of the bills that are not paid. Since they filed, not anything before they file, we can't collect. And he mentioned that pump and all of that, was that pre-bankruptcy that we had inspection?
Yep.
So that money will be held up until.
Right.
Till we.
Right.
Get that, or we meter.
Right.
Meter, we had
Meter
checked,
tested.
yeah. Yeah, so,
Yeah, that was prior.
We've had the bankruptcy council involved since the get-go. Pretty early in the process.
Yes.
Right.
yeah. Soon
We
as,
saw it coming as soon as we got there, when got the advice of somebody more knowledgeable.
but the way the bankruptcy law works, it says if you're a utility and you're using utilities after bankruptcy, you have to pay them. Continue to pay them.
Right.
And then if they don't pay us after that, then they have the right to shut them off. So. Tim, any updates on the grant list, pad numbers or anything that we talked about last month?
I haven't heard anything from anybody on anything.
You were gonna take some off and
We're
do some,
gonna, Chad is gonna take,
you and Chad are working on that.
right, we're gonna take some of the projects off and there's. We talked about, we're gonna add one. One project to it. But, a lot, I mean, the projects that we talked about in the last meeting. That we feel like that needs to come off, we're gonna take them off the list, there's no sense in being on it.
All right. So,
On the subject of grants, I noticed in the paper that Benton is going to expand service out in the West Marshall area. And got a $4.8 million grant. And according to the paper, so I don't know this to be absolute truth of it. That's it's being funded through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act funds. So is that a distribution that county did after the county received funds? I mean, that's for 200 homes. So, that's take it's $60 a month. It's taken 33 years and 4 months to pay for it. So I just wondered if there's anything we can do that
part
would
of the money.
couch us in a position. What was the decision to? Was none of the cities got, even if they all got 700,000, that's just a little over 2 million. So that's a pretty big chunk of money. I just wondered what the history was on that.
Is that part of that? I don't know if it is or not. Is that part of that deal that was worked out with the county? Yeah, so our part of that is what's done in the BB Cloud expansion.
Yeah.
Okay.
600,000.
That's the 480.
What was that one?
Yeah, so
1.2, 1.3.
1.3 million, yeah.
Yeah.
That was our.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that entire project was gonna be funded, and I think it was like 1.3 is what. Is what.
I've got it on here, so.
So, the priorities for that are, that's a tremendous expansion of water and how they're currently not served.
Mhm.
There's a high priority placed on that in grant funds.
Okay, so that's, and they're refurbishing one of their tanks, it's not being used.
Yeah, I haven't read the full scope.
So, yeah, so it makes sense to kind of hit the hot button on that.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's some other projects for some substantial improvement that the people already served, even though it was under the infrastructure and then another water district was there. But it is nowhere near where it needed to be. They were really gunning for that. And down on Rogers side, how'd they come out on that one? I don't remember.
I can't remember. I know, it seemed like they got something on it, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Yeah.
There's a situation where there was a subdivision and somebody put in their own water system. And they had their own wells and stuff. And when they took it over, the infrastructure was just terrible, had to rework the whole thing. And so that was one, I think also had a higher rating than some of ours, but we got the PV cloud. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
1.3.
Yeah,
That's the
and
same.
I'm not complaining, just sometimes that's just the grant background in me is, how, if there's a way we can couch it better or figure out how to, sometimes it's only a matter of the way it's worded,
Right.
But I just wondered, that's a pretty good chunk of money.
Yes, it is.
All right, in your packet that we gave you there, coming off the last month's meeting, Linda and Tim and I got together and we went through the last 5-year capital improvements budget we had, and we went through them, looked at them, looked at what's on the pad list, and we came up with some new budget, proposed 5-year plan for the water and the sewer to look at. Tim, you'll have to help me with this, but what we looked at there was there's always ongoing well field improvements we need to make out there that are of capital nature. So we put in 25,000 for the rest of this year and 50,000 for each of the 5 years. Because we don't know what's maybe be, but it could be a pump, it could be a need to clean a well or something that is of a capital nature, but would be considered well field improvements out there at this stage. So that's kind of an ongoing line item. The next item is the replacement and upgrade of the Highway 95 North water main upgrade and replacement. We're currently working on that with Chad. And
That's what's going to the plants.
it's going out to the plants, is what that improvement is there. And
Little inexpensive line.
so we have a rough estimate of that from Chad that would on the high end would be 6 million. On the low end would be 4 million. We anticipate engineering cost and some improvement in the physical year end in 24 of $500,000 and 5.5 million to complete the entire line. And what that does is that increases the feed from the well field to the plant from a 16-inch to a 20-inch. Is that what we said, Tim? And then it also increases the lines going towards the plants down 95 to take the head pressure off of those lines and to get more volume of water into that area. So, and that at this stage of the game is still, how to pay for that is still kind of on the table and looking at it. So we don't have any grants or anything to cover that at this point, but that's it is a project that is ongoing right now, being looked at very thorough, because we feel like if we can get more water going to the plants, it will get more revenue in and possibly be able to offset that cost. More.
Is that one that's worth submitting to PAD? Is that not gonna be probably very favorable with them in terms of kind of grants they give? I mean, we're just trying to do more of infrastructure expansion in it.
Part of that project. I found my list, but part of that is already, it's on.
Okay.
It's on the books. I've had
We went over it, but I didn't remember. Yeah, okay. So part of it is,
Yes, part of it is.
okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We're talking about the water line expansion now.
Finished water line.
Okay. Really? Okay.
2020. Yes, part of that is already on the book. That's bad.
Oh, if that water line is done and called for. Part of it may be an expansion of water service in which you end up with contracts. And commitments. You know, to commit to a project that size, we have to have a pretty firm idea you're gonna need it. So,
Yeah,
so there's negotiation going on there and. Trying to get some contracts and promises of business, and that's a pretty big commitment to go just do. It could, you know, it's not one that we can easily do without some assurance of some pretty significant business increase. So that's a topic of negotiation, see how that all plays out.
very good. Glad you're on top of that.
I mean, that's one of the consequences, something we'd like to do, but you don't do it on a whim. You gotta have some idea that it's actually gonna be there. So it's, you know, out in the industrial sector, it could be some economic development portion of that. It could be, you know, a particular need in which you arrange an increase in business.
Well, I mean, doesn't this take us back to last summer? We were talking about having a summit with the you know, and inviting whoever from the plants to say, we are thinking about this. So you have an avenue that you're pursuing, you're saying?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. And I mean, you're in a great position to pursue that in terms of, you know, how to communicate with the level of people here that are needed to understand this. So you're going beyond saying, hey, we got this going on. You're saying, hey, you know, we're gonna do this. It's gonna cost us a lot of money.
Potential project, is this something that would be of value, and then you have to bring it to the table before you commit to it.
You know, on 12, 15, and 22, that project that I was talking about with that upgrade was updated at the pad office. I mean, it is a project that's ongoing, that's on the list for $4,190,000.
Awesome.
And that was the scope of the work was to,
That was December of 22, we updated that.
yes, sir.
You know, and I see that as different from 200 homes outside of Benton that need,
Yeah.
Get water.
it is, and it is.
you know, it's more of a, but, you know, the chemical plant's been good to Marshall County. So,
And, you know, there may
Tax
be,
dollars.
you know, what creates that demand may pull some buckets of support from non areas. I mean, it's just the nature of the utility that's being run in Calvert City, right?
yeah, I guess that what do we concluded 60% of our revenues and, you know,
And in that plan that is there is also a plan to make sure that the residents of Calvert City are not being
right.
Right.
Well, we hope to make the whole system more reliable. that way.
more
That's right.
reliable. Yeah, it's in the plan, so.
Benefits everybody. Is the goal.
The next item on there is one that we've talked about quite a bit already, is the SCADA system, radio and the PLC upgrade for the 300,000. And we anticipate that being completed in fiscal year 24. We went ahead and put the new water treatment plant on here because it's still something that we've not really decided to kill, but some of this other could make that more viable to do if we get some of these other line items done as well, particularly the one we were just talking about for the industrial area. Still a lot of talk to be done on that one. Booster station rehab, that's one that we've talked about, and it's in the works too, isn't it, Tim? Yeah. So. Okay, Cedar Street Phase 3, alternate water line to the tower. What we're right now, the line that feeds the tower runs along 95. And we had on the plan for a long time. I think Roger may have been the one that put it on there, but we've had this alternate to run a line up Cedar Street and then come in the backside, which would give us an alternate feed line and a lot less
A lot less restrictions and all that.
restrictions. And it would be a lot safer for there's
Working
a
on it.
water break or working on it or whatnot, because you're off of that main.
And we're over 3/4 of the way there right now.
Oh, good. I noticed there's work going on around the apartments and they've shut down the little S curve. Is that the federal work going on in that area? They've cleared out the woods by the apartments down there, those Coward apartments.
That's a
That's
retention
pretty
basin.
bad.
That's a retention
For
basin.
Stormwater retention.
That's who's doing it, whose project?
City,
Okay. And you're just trying to help with this flooding that happens in that
Stormwater
area.
retention, yeah.
We got a good test here, but
yeah. Paper said it did good. I just assumed it did.
How did that?
it's all great.
Good.
That, that's been a long process getting it through, and I think some of the residents, it's been hard on them, it's changing their local appearance down there.
It
And
does.
dust and noise, but we got a heck of a test. We would have had households impacted, and some hypothesized that maybe Fifth Avenue might have gone underwater for a period of time.
Is that right?
Down in front of the post office.
Yeah, 4 inch, what was that rain? 6 inches in 24 hours or something crazy.
That basin is designed to hold a 100-year event, a 1% chance. And then release it as a 25-year event. Over 72 hours.
Is it released by valves or pumps or?
No, it just got drained.
Just had like-
Got its own drain.
So
So
it's-
it's got an overflow as well, so.
So you choke back the flow and give it room to accumulate.
Yeah.
And then if it accumulates past overflow, it gets back to it. So there's a, it goes to an overflow, so you don't, breach your levee.
But I don't think many people realize just how much water flowed through that low area there over the years. Now you can see it. Did get a compliment on it, had complaints about the trees being removed. Said it sure was pretty under the moonlight.
The water.
The water, yeah.
Lakefront property.
That's right.
There you go.
It won't be like front lawn. Better off drained.
You don't want it there too
Yeah.
long, but.
Yeah, it's supposed to drop completely empty within 72 hours.
There's still some seeding and some, there'll be some washing to remediate and stay on top of it before it gets finally something. So it's gonna be stable.
I thought that was a federal I thought that was related to the issues there, but we took that one on, huh? Well, good. Yeah, I remember those woods, so I lived down that neighborhood. Those were our play woods. We fought the Vietnam War down there many a time.
So the generations of people in the woods were involved in the project. It wasn't a happy circumstance.
You know, that's actually been. At some point, some way has been under trying to get it done, get something done. Since before I got here. Richard was working on it. I tried to work on it through grants and stuff like that. And we finally actually, if we could get a hold of the property, finally had the ability to go in there and do something that was more.
Yeah.
More stable than just building the road up.
Right.
All right, Charcoal Road, line extension project. That is one that's been on there for a long time. I think it goes back to Pete Hollinger and Riverport Board, is that what that was? Riverport people that was, if they got anything down there developing, that we would need to extend that water line further down Charcoal Road to a plant or whatever might be being built down there. So we just plugged it in and plugged it out in the
Furthest reach.
furthest reach
Okay.
in case.
Well, I mean, they needed to be able to fill out site surveys and having utilities available out there. So
Yeah, so
there'll be an extension of the line that they have.
yeah, it currently goes to McFarland. Stops, I think is where it's the last fire is out there. So this would be somewhere out in that area. UV cloud, we talked about it, we know what it is. It's in the works. I think Chad's doing the engineering work on that now because y'all had to go out and
Yeah, we had to realign.
realign it because of. That is grant money there already on the approved. Okay, this is one that we weren't really sure about other than the Rolling Hills Service Line Replacement Project.
I have not had an opportunity to talk to Roger about that yet, but I will.
Is there breakage out there, Tim, or or
I'm sorry.
line breaks out there?
Yeah, I mean, we've been having. Well, we've been having a few.
Yeah. Okay, the Lone Valley Road South Extension.
It's on the books, it's paddock.
It's on the books, and that's the one that goes up the hill and picks up those 7 or 8 customers and I think loops around by Michael's house and. Gonna improve a loop
I
out.
drove through there. If we go all the way around. Man, we drove through there. Which. If we picked up everybody, which you're not gonna pick up everybody. The potential of maybe 15. That we pick up.
I recall a conversation here 5 to 10 years ago where we had some citizens from that area that were interested in that. And we said, you put some people together and put some money into it, we'll do it. And they never got back to us.
We did put it on the book with the pad office. It is on.
So I think that's the impetus here was we had some citizens interested, but
Well,
we're not. At that point, we were willing to invest in that ourselves, but
That's one of those you gotta keep on the book and if something comes along and.
yeah,
That's
we can find a way to pay for it.
that's
and-
picking up some households, but it's also the reliability question
of the whole system.
of the whole system up on that hill.
Right, pressures and just different issues
If I had
develop whenever
one,
you,
we.
when you add on to your system.
There's been 2 houses burned down on Grant Street.
I don't know the connection, what are you saying?
There's not enough hydrant pressure up there, not enough frequency of fire hydrants. It's not Calvert City's fire district, it's Gibbon
Sure.
Fire District.
Oh,
And
another issue.
but water supply up there is kind of a gray area.
Pressure is low.
So
So we talking new pumps and all those things? Is that be covered within this amount of money or? Right,
heat pumps.
The only way you're gonna increase the pressure out there. Would be to. Put in a totally another. Either another water tower. Out in that area
yes,
to boost their pressure or a new, or a complete new booster station. In that area. I mean, the elevation is just.
I know, it's up there, isn't it? Yeah.
So they end up with a lot of boil water alerts over that area. Then when you have you don't have enough hydrant pressure, it's a problem. It's just general service could be improved out there.
Right.
And that's.
So what are
that's
they
what
on
I'm
well
talking about.
now? Anybody that's up there on well?
There's some people.
Yeah,
on
most
top.
everybody up there's on the well.
Okay,
Stokes is one of them that hit me up,
Yeah, he's very interested in getting water.
getting water, and there was right around him was. He said some neighbors that was having to replace their wells as well.
Yeah.
Told him.
You're gonna get them to tie on if they get it before they make an investment in a new well, right?
That's right, yeah. Okay, this one is one that we were gonna have to check with Roger a little bit about what they were thinking, and Tim was gonna do some checking on it because this is an extension off of PV Cloud over to the Bond Chapel Road. We're not exactly sure where and what they're talking about there on that one.
Right. Because we done part of Bond Chapel Road. Off of. But this is saying from PB. On this new. On this new design, on the PB crowd, we're going to. Get more than. 3/4 of that done. With this, because we're moving down and moving over, so it's going to.
So
It's gonna come-
it actually the design is gonna loop in.
Right.
So this may be a
Something that we take out.
So,
you go up PB Cloud's dead end.
Right.
But it's not very far off that dead end to get to the other water line cross country.
We relocated the line on the aligning of it, and it's, where we moved it down to, it's gonna take care of a bunch of that right there.
Got a call before you dig.
mhm.
That one won't be along a road.
Okay.
That may be something that can be figured out.
Right. Oak Park US 62 water main relocation. Help me there.
It's the old one.
Oh, that's the O'Reilly project. Okay, so that one's already on the books. But other than we're funding this year, the first leg of it. And then the second leg to get it actually completed and out of the liquor store parking lot and around behind it over to Oak Park. That'll have to be done at a later date.
Right.
So
So I got a stupid question here, maybe John can help us out. Are we gonna be impacted by any changes to US 62? Are we out far enough off the right of way?
I've asked the same question. From everything that I've seen. No, we won't be impacted on this end, what we're doing on this end.
You talking about roundabouts?
Turnabouts up there is gonna be a different story.
So, there was a public comment period and the city didn't take an official stand on that. So there's, then you've gone through, saw public comment, there's 3 or 4 options up there. So you got there weren't any real options provided, just basically on the main stretch of 62, but were the potential roundabout or an intersection change or something up there, we're gonna have some impact probably.
Which one, 95 or on
It'd
down?
be Lone Valley Road.
Long Valley
62.
Road.
Okay, yeah,
62.
So my question is not on the list. My question was off to the side. Just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Is this change in 62 gonna impact Copper City Water? And there's a likelihood there's gonna be some spotty changes in there.
Of a roundabout, put you almost in the parking lot of the old Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Right.
yeah, that's where they need to put the roundabout, just move it right over in there.
On that spot.
I mean, it takes up a lot of land.
It does. And those red and white stripes, and it's time. Let those go.
I mean, there's going to be some relocation done there.
And the state's gonna pay for it.
I understand it.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's normally done when they do utility relocation.
Thank you. Good.
That's
Because all the utilities were located before they done their engineering design, so they knew where everything was in their design.
Well, it appears that they're gonna do a 3-lane instead of a 4-lane. Or 5, up 62 from Lone Valley to the light, or to where it already is expanded, so I don't expect to see.
Yeah, we've got 4 lanes coming right into that area.
Yeah, they'll actually just meld down to a 3-lane after that, it'll be 3-lane down to the interchange, whatever that is, for the intersection. And they'll actually break it down to a 2-lane going into the interchange.
Right.
So if it's well, I'd say that, if it's a roundabout, it'll go into a 2-lane. If it's not a roundabout, then it may not. Depends on which way they go.
Are they gonna do anything between there and where I-24, where our down here? Oak Park,
To 95,
Oak Park,
that,
R-95 either.
95. I want to say that goes all of that, those improvements will go all the way to 95, those that haven't already been improved or what. So. The only thing I can think of there on that end would be right there where that, culvert is, it goes over. There where Donnie Travis's place, and his property is, it goes underneath there. That's the only place I could see that might be expanded there, but for the most part, it's 3-lane or 4-lane on that side anyway. Other than that, just that little segment. So, but to my knowledge, it's supposed to go to 95. But I don't see any existing 4-lane being reconstructed.
There's gonna be one of those options did show a new exit from the Cracker Barrel area going out behind the BP to Lone Valley. In other words, that going into that Cracker Barrel is gonna be a one-way going in. And then when you're exiting, they're gonna take you out to Lone Valley and come out. So there'd be some more work back there. I don't know if we have anything on that little section of Lone Valley.
Yeah, they select that option. There were a couple of tie-ins along, but there were like two options that were some pretty big changes on the Long Valley side that are existing connections that would be connections that are not existing.
Right.
So one of them put two-way direction kind of in close. The other one made you go around like you went in McDonald's, you got to go around the corner and come out.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's one, we put Kennedy closer to 62 than Kennedy was to Lone Valley. Well, the other option had them actually taking up the backside of the property, cutting through the middle of those properties and going in there, coming out.
So I don't know, was there a timeline of attached to that? As far as,
I haven't heard. I'm sure there is. I know that there's a period of time until take the comments, and after that, make the decision based on that.
comments were till March 10th, I think. Yeah, I'm sure they got some.
Yeah, the Giversville Highway Cypress Creek crossing, that's done. No, that's the bridge
That
there, and we've done that.
blue thing right there
Mhm.
behind us.
Part of that.
Mhm. Okay, the Evergreen Street Water Main Replacement Project, that is got some problems over there on Evergreen, right?
Yeah. What's problem at Green Street?
Gas turn. Break check the break. Well, I mean, knock on wood, we hadn't had one over there. For a while, but I mean, it's just
Had one Christmas a year ago, somewhere around in
had
there.
one this past Christmas. Yeah, this past Christmas. But we was there on Christmas Eve at night, it was there was cold.
Yeah,
Of course.
that's when they have.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the proverbial world leaders anatomy.
Or worse.
One of the guys changed clothes down there to get out of the wet clothes, and before he could get his clothes off, he was standing there by himself.
Oh, man. That's better.
Yeah, these last four we put on here, but we didn't set them up as in this 5-year project. They are carryover projects that need to be done at some point, but 7th Avenue Water Main Replacement Project. 282 North Marshall Interconnect.
And that,
Where on Seventh Avenue is the issue? Is it just all of Seventh Avenue or just some particular part of it that's struggling?
Where's Rolling Hill subdivision? You know that off the top of your head, John?
Yeah, it's. I'm not sure, I can't remember how far it extends over. Rolling Hills is west, if I remember right, west of the Heights, correct?
I think it is right.
So Chestnut, that area in there. If I remember right.
So the Rolling Hills project is a subdivision, not the shopping center. I found a friend. Service lines from main to meter. That existing lines are beyond suitable design life and subject to failure. So that's kind of what we're talking about on 7th as well. Right.
Okay.
Just
Kinda go together.
aging supply lines throughout.
Yep. Not last forever, and you got whatever roots growing in them, and what are they made of? What is it, is it PVC, is it clay, is it
And we're talking about the supply lines, not the sewer lines. Sewer lines are the ones that are from the root intrusion. The
Okay.
water lines would be cast iron, maybe some cement.
Right. And that's another thing that we've got. Coming by 2024 is our assessment on our entire distribution system. On our service lines from the main to the meter. And what the customer has from the meter to his house. Rural Water is sending me a survey thing that we can either put online or that we can mail to homeowners to try to get some input. A lot of it we know, a lot of it we don't. But by federal regulations, we are going to have to expose their lines on private property
Oh, that's lovely.
to let the federal government know what kind of lines the customers have coming from the meter to their house.
So when you say expose the lines, you have to dig it up and look at it.
We do have to dig it up or pothole it. Backing them out.
Uh,
A lot of them we
2024?
know. And
Yeah. You got records of any of this that you already know?
I mean, a lot of them we know a lot of them we know by the age.
Yeah.
Of if it's a copper line or if it's a polyethylene line.
Howard
We
Height
know.
does this and Ron
Right.
Hill does that.
What's the purpose of that, that they would
Falls
get
under
rid of
that-
that iron or get rid of
Falls
that
under that lead and copper rule.
lead and copper?
Yes, sir.
So are they gonna have to change them out if they? Or is it just that they wanna know?
They just want to know.
What's the important date for lead and copper was prior to, is there a given date? No? Okay.
Would we be looking at sometime where we told somebody you have to replace your line? I mean, would that be a federal? If they're wanting to know, they're wanting to know for a reason
Right.
and
Well, and I mean, that's just like with our lead and copper samples that we have to pull every year. Those are pulled at the house tap. It's not pulled off of my mains. That's pulled at the house tap. We're responsible for what that result is coming through your line.
House tap, you do a faucet on the side of their house.
Right. We send the customers the sample kit along with the instructions. And what we have to do,
And they send it off or we send it off.
we send it up.
What was the North Marshall interconnect? Tim, what was that? That was 282.
Yes, sir. It's down to 282, tying us to North Marshall down on the other end. And it is on the books also at the
Okay.
head office.
Reason why would we be doing that? This is backup or why do we want to do an interconnect?
We'll just give us a feed, an extra feed off of North Marshall and give North Marshall an extra feed off of us
Got it.
for emergency.
Good to have friends.
Yep.
Yep.
You just happen to be relatives.
Any other questions on any of this? Discussion? Any other questions you got on anything that's not on here that we need to look at and consider? Know of potentials. Gilbertsville is on North Marshall water, aren't they?
Yes,
Are they? So. What we do, what we don't service at the Possum Trot, it's on either, there you say Benton or.
everything that
But,
we do, when we start, that's all on North Marshall. Well, I take it back, that's on Paducah water. I was on this meeting, I had, that, we hook on to Paducah at Possum Trot.
So Paducah services pretty much everything west of Possum Trot on the north end.
They bought Reedland.
They bought Reedland.
Their water district or something.
So they've got Reedland, they're really good that way.
How long ago?
Somewhere out there, I don't know, I haven't seen Turkmac, but in this imaginary corner, we got Benton, Calvert and Dixie. All butt up out there somewhere.
North Marshall's got everything on the south side
68.
of 24.
Okay. That's right.
So how long ago they buy the Reedland water district? Correct.
That's been a while.
been a long time.
Since they painted the water tower down
No, is that- that's true. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So the Benton water didn't go down, right? It's just Benton gas. I got Benton gas, scratch that. It'd be North Marshall water and Paducah water and Calvert water.
Yeah,
North Marshall goes all the way to. I know that is. North Marshall goes all the way to the county line down 68.
okay, on the sewer system. We've got the agreed order on as the top item there. We not exactly sure when we'll spend the money, but hopefully we'll have it all spent by the end of 24. It's what we were thinking. Anyway.
Any updates on the litigation there between parties on that part of that project?
We could go to an executive meeting and talk about it if we want to.
No, no problem. I'm not that curious.
Okay.
I mean, at some point, you think we need to do it, we'll do it.
Well, I mean, it's not a problem. It could be a brief update. If somebody wanted an update, we can do one.
We'll do it here in a minute then.
Okay.
Okay, lagoon solids, removal disposal, we still got 2 bags that are setting up on the around the lagoons that we need to get rid of. And so we put an amount in for physical year ending 24 and another amount for 25 to separate that. They'll have to go to the landfills where they'll have to go. Which that means we have to get probably Greer in there with a. We don't have an excavator ourselves we can load that with, do we, Tim? Or
Yeah. We can now, they're on the top.
they're on the top?
I can load them with a skid steer or excavator, either one.
I don't know if we got Can we run that with the city truck then, or dump, or will it be too much load?
Well, no, we could. We'd be just about truckload at a time, but yeah, we could.
Something to think about,
Right.
Get fertilized.
because the haul will be pretty expensive, even from here.
It was gonna be fertilizer. That was our dream, is to, get some farmers, but what we were finding were needles and all the other stuff in it kind of negated that possibility. So that was the dream.
You're responsible from then on. too.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, along that line, just for y'all's information too, Tim and I was talking this week that when we get the influent lift station in, there's gonna be a bar screen in there that hopefully will catch all of that.
That'd be wonderful.
To keep it from going in, which will make it easier to dispose of sludge, but between now and then, we're gonna be accumulating some, and so we haven't sold the dredge yet, so he's thinking he's gonna try to run the dredge one more time, once we get that done, get as much of that out as he can,
So when you start off,
and then have
With
a
a clean slate.
clean lagoon, maybe. That's what.
but we will, at the time that Dan, like Dan was talking about, when we get the new bar screen in. Now, the bar screen is gonna have a collector on it, and we're not sure on how much there's gonna be a day or a week or a month that it pulls out. So that's gonna be a disposal fee that we don't have right now because it's going into the lagoons. Well,
Yeah,
when the
another
new bar
expense.
screen comes into effect, it's gonna be pulling that out daily. But we don't know exactly how much it's gonna be. I mean, it's just gonna be a trial until we see what it does the first year. I mean, it's gonna be hard to put down a dollar amount when you don't know how many yards it's gonna bring out in a
Generate.
year's time.
No grinder on it. It's just a screen.
Right. I mean, it's the unit we've got that we bought has got a bagger on it. But like I said, we still not. It's gonna be a guessing game on how many yards
Yeah.
it's gonna be. For the first year anyway.
Right.
The next project, the phase 4 sanitary sewer rehab project. Once we get the wastewater treatment plant all in place and everything, then there is still some more sewer lines that we've got to go in and smoke test and possibly reline and do some of what we already have done in other places, but we got to try to do that to cut out as much I&I as we can get out of the system once we get that in there. And so that's what that 890,000 is for. And we figured that would maybe be split over 2 to 3 years. We don't know for sure how we'll do that, but it will be something that we got to do. We can break it down as we need, which will hopefully cut out a whole lot more I&I in the system. Okay, some projects that need to be done is the convalescent center lift station is, it's going to crash and burn most any time. But would be a major job, so we're, because of all this other expenditures, we put that out until it's either forced to do it or we can get it done later in 27. got a couple of areas that need some sewer work in, or actually sewers, period. The Carolina Street, 14th Avenue, 15th Avenue. Sewer extension out there, and Tim's proposing that we use low pressure pumps at each resident to move that to a, because of it being so flat.
And the elevations out there are just up and down, up and down, up and down, and there'd be places in it, if you try to put gravity sewer in, would be 40 foot in the ground.
Is this out near Oak Park, off Oak Park, where you get?
Where Ralph Howard lives, you know where he
By
lives.
Ralph Hard,
I'm sorry.
15th and 14th.
I'm asking about. No, I don't remember. where
I
live.
mean. over there-
15th Street comes off of up there. We're there.
those
Before the
there-
fire station on Oak Park,
you know,
what are those?
This is back in here. He lives back right there. Okay. What are you looking for exactly?
14, 15, so that's
Okay, it's 14th right here.
14th comes off of 95.
This is 95.
No, this is 95. 95 is what runs this way.
Oh, yeah, of
That's
course.
95.
Okay, so yeah, no, I was on the wrong side of town, so we're over on west side of town, okay. I got you, We're getting a map. I'm gonna have to study, I've got it on here too. I love my Google map.
And
I didn't pass the Calvert City literacy test on every street.
Don't trust them, should have it tomorrow.
There you go.
missed it by a day, didn't we?
Come back tomorrow, Bill.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something.
And Riley Circle and Colorado Street, same
Same.
type of situation. So.
I mean, yeah, those areas are areas that are within the city limits that do not have city sewer.
You know how many customers we're talking about out there? And it's not important. I was just wondering how many people we'd be.
Off the top of my, just off the top of my head, I'm gonna say there would probably be better than 50.
Yeah. For the residents.
And they're already paying for it, so they, aren't they?
I don't, do they,
They're paying
they
the
don't
sewer.
pay a
Do
sewer
they pay
fee.
sewer? Oh, they don't pay sewer, okay,
Linda,
well, good.
they wouldn't pay a sewer fee out there. would they?
No,
No,
no, they're not, they
What
do
we're
not
talking
pay a
about.
sewer fee. They pay just water, but I mean, that's just tax-paying citizens of Calvert City that don't now have, does not have city sewer.
yeah, it's,
They're full of
the
headaches.
Rileys, Riley Circle, the Colorado,
Up and down that road.
out there where Ralph Howard lives.
It's a unique topology out there.
Well, if they live in the city, I'm sure like to see them served. In my own system.
Where do the city limits go? How far out? Back to the map.
Back over on that map.
Oh, I see it, okay. In R2 would be Camelot.
Camelot's in the city.
Yeah, I mean, it's down there at the bottom left hand corner.
Camelot had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a section that never could be because of the elevation.
Conservation, that R1 section under
It's
conservation.
just impossible.
Yeah.
I mean,
What is hard to do out there?
R2, that's
Facing way
the
out.
properties that run along 95 and before Boland, right at Boland's place. Or up to that point. And then it goes back into Colorado. that green section right there between 90 or 62 on the left-hand side. One green area, that's the old, Tom Bowen's place.
Yeah.
Tommy's dad.
Oh,
And the other side is mine and, Wayne and the, Holden properties back into there, yeah.
Wayne Park.
Mhm.
This right here is what? What is this?
That's, oh, I'm sorry, that's Camelot, that's what I tell you, I'm sorry.
Okay.
What am I thinking? I was thinking Sir Charles and all those up there when you said Camelot. No.
Oh, no,
Yeah, okay.
I'm up
The wrong set of nights, I'm sorry.
It's right another
Yeah,
set.
okay.
The Royal
Yeah, wrong road.
Knighthood.
So you're right, that is R2, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Couple R2s.
R2 is the density, it's a lot, you've got a little more, it's more dense than an R1 as far as the houses and the acreage or square footage of the lot. And then what type of housing is allowed there? That's the difference.
All right, any question on any of that?
Just a whole workshop on all these designations here, right?
Anytime you want it.
Uh,
Remember, the higher the number, the more dense they could be
all right, let's,
operating.
do we have, can you read something going into executive session, Miss Attorney?
You can go get it?
Yeah.
Well, I've got something on my computer.
Or do you want to do, or you've already done enough on the updates? you
I think we've done enough on
I know
PB
Gene's
Cloud and
only
O'Reilly's and the,
Because they had the bid opening and he signed the contract and so I sent it to Chad and that's all in the works.
O'Reilly's line repair.
Okay.
Phase 1.
Ooh, that sounded bad. Can you hear me? Hey, man.
Just got ran off the road.
Well, let's don't do that.
I'll try to hold it between the lines here. What can I do for you? I was just sending you a text back.
Okay, well, I think we have a desire. And Glenda's out reading the paragraph. We have a desire to go to an executive session. To discuss, privileged information of the 13 categories. So KRS 61.810 exempts 13 categories of meetings from Open Meetings Act. We got to say what we're going to talk about when we go in here. So what we're going to talk about pending litigation.
There is time, right?
You don't get a.
Let's see.
Still don't know.
Talked to Brian in the last.
No, I have not.
Everybody.
So discussions of proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of the public agency. That would be the reason.
Yeah,
Everybody's.
yeah, I would think you don't
Everybody's
want
real
to
world, okay?
discuss that yet until Brian and until you pass where you are.
So until I know.
To discuss that.
Okay, all
It's
right.
fine. It's fine. No problem.
So another thing.
We are live right now.
Yeah, we're fine.
Subjects back into the water.
We're live.
yeah,
We're
Oh,
live.
before he said something there.
Okay,
especially during the summer, I hated it.
Oh, I don't blame you. I'm
Well,
sure
we'll
you've
just-
been
we'll just
burned
punt.
before.
we're just gonna punt. Okay.
Thanks, John. Good seeing you.
And just let it keep it.
Right.
Are you going into?
I know,
executive
I'm
Okay.
just thinking.
There's another reason why we could go into executive session right now. It would be to talk about conversations between us and a customer. Is there not? Yes, there is. I'm trying to find it. Hang on a minute. I'm just looking at the KLC website, my friend. Discussions between well, no, that doesn't work either. Discussion between a public agency and a representative of a business entity, so we don't have a representative, and discussions concerning a specific proposal if open discussions would jeopardize society retention, expansion, or upgrading of the business, so we don't have that either. Okay, all right. Good enough. Will you just be that way? I'll talk to you later. No, seriously, we're good. Bye. See. He said he didn't want to be an obstructionist. I told him yes, but
Yeah, I know.
and we're public. I shouldn't be saying that. I'm teasing. No, but I thought we could talk about another issue, and one of the conditions is that a representative of that other be actually making a formal proposal in here, and that's not occurring. So, right.
It's fine. Can't do it, can't do it.
All right.
Okay. I think we've gone through O'Reilly, PB Cloud and the VFDs and the controls upgrade. So, and I mentioned the one customer that we got in chapter 13. So
What's
that's my agenda at
what's
this
the-
point. Anybody else?
what's about the VFD upgrade? Can you give us a real quick summary on that? What stage are we in?
I talked to Chad about that today, on the POC and the VFD upgrade for the water plant, not the booster station.
Okay.
He recommends that the quotes that we've got and the way that him and Greg have been talking back and forth, those two items, we need to go ahead and bid those out. That each had, it would be simple for me to write a bid proposal on those. Because we're looking at, the VFDs are not gonna be, the two VFDs are not gonna, it's not gonna take very long at all to get those. The PLC, we're looking at 8 to 9 months. So he suggests that we go ahead and bid those two out.
Mhm.
And the grant money we should have before.
Okay.
The stuff even comes in. I mean, that's what me and Chad talked today. Just this afternoon, and that's what he suggested that we do.
Okay.
We bid those two out.
Okay.
He said he could have it drawn up in a matter of hours.
You got any thoughts on that? Anybody?
I think we made the motion for you to go ahead and do that.
Okay.
But to say okay, and you said okay to him, so. They're in the move, get it all ready.
Chad, I think is providing us some very good service in our current situation, as far as not having a manager. I don't have enough good things to say about how he's, he understands what we need and how to plug us in, and he's been very, very patient with me, sending me stuff that would normally be on that manager's plate as we move forward and getting on with integration, and he did a fine job.
He sure been a help to me, I know that.
Me too.
Mhm.
With all of them,
All of us.
with
Well,
grants and,
Yeah, I don't know his full resume, but it's obvious he's got a lot of in-depth experience in different water districts and knows how the various funding situations work. He's got some experience, quite a bit of experience on how we can make decisions such as, an expansion, amidst the utility to a capital outlay, and how you can get through some of those maneuvers as well. So I'm very happy with him as a consultant here.
In our last meeting, we did kind of discuss this committee at the pad office that deals with this funding list, that we might try to think about getting a little better acquainted with their processes and kind of get how they think. That might give us an opportunity to Sometimes it's not the project, it's how the project's couched.
Right, right.
And, so if you can get that information, you're gonna get Chad to call me.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Chad.
I know you don't need anything else on your list. Maybe if some of us could just go over there and stay quiet, just observe what they're doing. So we get a little better.
I've been to that meeting once now. And it's there's a routine there.
Mhm.
And I believe that we know, go back to really the base grants that are available through there, we better understand how to get that done.
Right.
And I think sometimes it's good to have a fresh set of eyes and say, hey, look, this is what's going on, and understand the routine, and also what the funding, as you well know, has a core purpose in mind there.
Yeah, it does.
And as you know how to call out those, you have a better chance of,
Trying.
so, yeah. And he's been around it long enough. If he doesn't know the answer, he knows somebody can give us the answer. And they rotate the chairmanship of those things around. So I think all the PAD districts, and they, as funding becomes available, they got to go to the region and prioritize it. They're ready. They're ready. And everybody knows you can't, like you did the math on the $2 million water expansion to 200 houses. Wow, that's a hard thing to do. That's it done. That's how we do that. We got the line that ends at the interstate down Highway 95. We really need to get some more customers for it. I'm scratching my head on that.
Kind of convalescence, and it goes. Well, what all the help, I guess it's a big headache, but you've got all those residents, we certainly want that commode to flush.
Yeah.
And for it to go in the right direction. I don't know what you would do, it'd be a relocation and a mess, If we lost sewer there.
Is that the one over here? We're talking.
Is that same lift station that affects Cox Manor to the housing, is that all interconnected?
Yes. I mean, the pumps and all that's in it, I can't complain. And the wet well itself and the control cabinet, and I mean, where it's at, to me, I mean, it's gonna have to stay pretty close to where it's at, but it's an eyesore. And I mean, it's been there 40 years.
Yeah,
It's time for an upgrade.
it's just the functioning of that and those elderly people,
Right.
if you impact their life and they are involved, I mean, you got to know PR mess. With the residents as well as their extended families, and it's a pretty traumatic experience for those people that are depending on a repetitive activity all the time, and you disrupt that, right? At that point in their life, it sometimes really be dramatic for them. So I
Can you
just
back
think-
it up, Tim, off the road?
Yeah.
Get it back further.
They might want to think about, if we can, that's something we can, far better where we're at than I do. I just say, I just.
I'd like to move that one up a little
I
bit.
would, I just wouldn't want to deal with the mess of it.
Well,
later.
I mean, as far as like the pumps, like I said, with the pumps, I'm not. The pumps are not the big issue. The big issue is just the structure of the wet wells themselves.
Mhm.
And I mean, and the control cabinet, and I mean, you can only do so much with what you've got. So, I mean, just. As far as like a pump going down or a bypass situation, I can bypass, I can put a portable. I've got
But
a
we would
portable
not-
pump
we're
that
not
I can
needing
put in
extra
down here.
loosen.
They will not be without saving.
Okay.
Okay. That's fine.
It's just a matter of when it does go down,
Right,
you can plug up something, but then we're gonna get into the construction of something.
I
new.
just think it's an eyesore.
Hmm.
It's one of the worst looking lift stations we've got, and where's it at? Right out in front of where, I mean,
Yes.
it is where it has to be.
Yeah.
But it needs to Needs to kind of blend in, not stick out.
Okay.
You good, Michael?
I was just, and one thing I thought of a minute ago, I was just gonna mention, that in May, one of the large industrial facilities in Calvert will be going into a turnaround, like a month-long turnaround, so it's probably processed water may fall off, but
It may pick up.
it may pick up sewer water. I mean, there's gonna be an extra several hundred people in this area for a month, round the clock, starting May 1st.
Starting May 1st.
So I don't know how that impacts water department or the city in general, but I'm sure there's some impact.
Okay.
It's one of the every 5-6 years. So
You
it's,
say for a month, it will be a 30-day shut in.
yeah, you know how those go. I mean,
Yeah.
at least 3 weeks.
Okay.
What's the latest number on the head count?
Uh,
Remember a number?
I don't even have a number now.
It's a crazy number.
Yeah, it's a crazy number. Yeah. And right now, yeah, there's open calls contractors are still trying to get more people because right
Can't
now
get
they still
enough
don't
people.
have enough to fill. They still need bodies to throw at it. And the electrical side anyway, I know that much, so. It's gonna be a big one. I may not be here that
I'm
month.
thinking- I'm trying to say it's gonna be close to 1,000
I would say so, yeah.
Really?
I
for
would say-
like 6 weeks.
I would say that.
Depends
number
on
is
how
very-
smooth things go, but that gives you this order of magnitude. It's big. It's big.
You can't get a hotel in. I mean, the thing had to move because of the quilt show. Because there was not enough.
Yeah.
housing.
Wow.
So it's,
That was my next question.
I knew it was big. I didn't realize it was that big.
as soon as the quilt show's over, we're starting.
I'm good.
You good? Okay.
Any retirees that wanna come out and work, you know?
There, I got 2 months.
You got work for me.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Barry?
I heard it.
Which,
He just said this didn't sink in. very well.
That's right, yeah. I observed the Passover. off there.
You got anything, Linda? You need? Numbers 4. Tim, you good?
I'm good.
Barry?
I'm good.
All right. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.